Alright, what's up everybody? Mick here with
Dr. Eller.
And on this one we're going to talk about media and politics. And I do want to say, when it's about 6 feet of snow this winter, we will not be recording these outside. So enjoy it while you can. But Chris, why don't you start this one?
Alright, my thoughts on media and politics is I think it's pretty much universal that there's too much saturation of the media and politics, and the problem with it is that we don't focus on the right thing, which I think that's let's face it, I think it's 6 corporations own all of the media outlets, or almost all of the media outlets today, so that is another problem in and of itself. But there's all these things that we could be focusing on all around the world, and when you especially look at how we cover politics, it's kind of it's almost disturbing, really, because like the debate, the headline was Romney loses on facts, wins on style. I don't count that as a win, and just to report it like that, I know that would cover more of the editorializing to say what you think, but whenever the win is not based on facts in something like a debate, that's not a win. That's a loss. And if it changed anybody's mind based on the style that he gave instead of the facts that he didn't give, that is a major problem. And I think that it needs to stop, and the only way it can stop, really, is to diversify who owns all the media outlets. Back in not even 50 years ago, I think there was over 100 companies that owned all of these different media outlets. And like I said, today it's I think around 6 that own the vast majority of them. And you can't fully trust any organization. Like some people like to say liberal media, that doesn't really exist. I don't think that if you really want to draw a line between liberal or conservative, it would be a fine line. Fox is a problem on that one. They're definitely conservative,
But they do the same things that every other media channel does.
Yeah, they do a lot more. It's just, I think they kind of get bullied and picked on just because they are the only ones that are obviously outward conservative, but their problem is that they also don't want to admit it. They want to say we're reporting the truth, and
I think that goes for the same in some aspects of like CNN, MSNBC, and stuff like that. They have the more liberal stance on things, but I think every news group does say we're fair and balanced, but in reality they're not. The one thing I've noticed a lot of is quote mining. That seems to be a big one to me. And for an example, the "you didn't build it" quote, taken out of context, and there's every news media agency does it. I call it dirty journalism, I would assume. I don't know if there's a journalism term for it, or
it's an interesting thing, which I think is another problem with media and politics, is that you have the situation where something that really wouldn't otherwise be newsworthy is only newsworthy because they continue to report it, and then it blurs this line as to, does this really matter, and is it only something that matters now because you just won't stop reporting on it? And this isn't necessarily media and politics, but just look at the Paris Hilton summer of, what was it, like 05 or 06, something like that, where all this stuff was going on and they just wanted to report on Paris Hilton all the time, which, to be fair, is probably the result of somebody up above not wanting certain things to be discussed and saying, just discuss this. So I no way, I don't really want to blame some of the anchors that are on televised news right now, because a lot of that probably is coming up, but there are certain anchors that really should let things go, like the Gulf oil spill. That was
blown way out of proportion.
Yeah, it
in
was
a lot of
totally out of, and unfortunately, because of all the hype, it also made Rush Limbaugh have a really good point, which was that the ocean will take care of itself. And his whole thing was, think about World War II, whenever all the ships got sunk, fuel leaked out, it didn't stay there for all these years, the ocean took care of it, and sure enough, the Gulf oil spill, new bacteria formed that ate the oil and destroyed it, and it went away very, very quickly. Now, I am in no way advocating that BP is in the clear, but that round-the-clock media coverage of that pipe bursting oil is a problem, and really, that's a pretty good metaphor for whenever politics are covered in media.
Yeah.
They do this round-the-clock thing of just they're looking for the bad news, and ultimately, I'm a liberal, but it also backfires on the Republicans as well, because John McCain, whenever he was running, he almost ran out of money. And I think it was the Straight Talk Express, all these headlines of it running on fumes and everything. I'll bet that helped contribute to him getting money and gaining popularity.
Yeah.
And who knows, without that media coverage of that, he might not have been the Republican candidate in 2008. And then who knows how that would have affected it. So, that's another example of maybe just let things go.
Yeah, and it's tough now. And the main way I usually get media anymore is I try to check like routers, and I also look at a lot of like BBC and stuff like that. So I like looking at the media who is not directly tied into American politics, who's not influential in American politics. And I think the media really affects campaigns versus, and it goes into my money and politics thing that I did before, and we're going to do a discussion of that in a later video. The media is really influential, I think, and if there's somebody who's liked better than another candidate in some aspects, there was a candidate I loved, but he just didn't get the media attention, and another candidate got, who later went on to win the nomination. And it's amazing how influential the media is, especially cable media and the big news channels itself.
Well, I think that something that's interesting to me is that whenever we were at the debate watching the debate on Wednesday, and you're there taking notes. I was on PolitiFact doing fact checking, bookmarking things, and I can still keep score of what Romney said that were either true, mostly true, mostly false, or completely false. And I did that, as the debate was going on. And from what I saw whenever I got home on CNN, it might have been a rerun, but it appeared to be live, because they don't normally just replay shows. It's usually, the same stuff. So maybe they said it earlier, but I think it was somewhere near 12:30 in the morning whenever I saw them doing a fact check round, which I think if it wasn't, now, like I said, I admit I don't know if they recorded early or not, but if that was the first round, then that was way too slow.
Yeah.
Like, only somebody like me or you would be up at 1 o'clock watching CNN and that was the thing. And it's just, I don't know why they can't just have because I think we watched it on NBC or ABC, and they had the Twitter thing popping up,
which was distracting in some aspects.
It was distracting, but the information could be used better. Why not, instead of Twitter,
put the facts of what they're saying at the bottom, which they did a little bit.